Welcome back, everybody. I am excited to have Maggie Knowles with us in this episode. And I met Maggie, how long? Was it 2 years
Oh,
ago?
I'm going to say 2 or 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I do a monthly kind of an open hours um, session called Talking Financial Therapy with Rick Kahler. And it's just whoever is interested joins. And we have a roundtable discussion about whatever comes up. And Maggie joined one of those 2 or 3 years ago, and she's been coming back ever since. Just Maggie, you're a delightful person. What encouraged you to join that? Do you remember?
So I was in a writers group called Shut Up and Write, and one of the members is a financial planner who referred me to you and said she thought I would find some very interesting, I would learn from you, and I sure have.
Well, that is very sweet. So I think what you do has a pretty um, wide application to our audience and the folks that listen to this webcast. Why don't you describe that for everyone?
Sure. Thank you so much. I have a business as a daily money manager, which means that I serve as kind of the official hired person that normally might be the middle-aged daughter who makes sure that her parents' bills get paid and that nobody's defrauding them and that they're taken care of financially. So I go, different people, different daily money managers do different things with this kind of job. But what I do is I go and sit at their kitchen table with them. And number one, I make sure that they write the check for $170, not $1,700, which happens, by mistake, or that if they're getting shut off notices, I make sure those bills are getting paid. And I check for fraud and I track their spending if they want that, or I reconcile their statements if they want that. I basically organize their finances on a very simple level. Other daily money managers, I should say, we're all part of the American Association of Daily Money Managers. Website is aadmm.com, American Association of Daily Money Managers. It is an organization of people who do quite a variety of things. So I keep it really simple. I don't actually even touch their money ever. I have no access to their money, whereas some of my colleagues pay the bills online remotely. They do everything. They take care of everything. Especially like if the client has severe dementia and the power of attorney doesn't live in town in the same place, the daily money manager sort of acts as the go-between and takes care of the day-to-day business. So it's a very handy thing. It's very practical. It takes many forms. Sometimes it involves working with the adult children. Sometimes there is no family, or it involves working with things like helping them make decisions about what they're going to do with their money. I don't make the decisions, but I give them the information that helps them make the decisions, hopefully with their power of attorney or somebody who's kind of fully competent to do that kind of work. Because I can't work with somebody who has complete dementia. Some of my colleagues will, but I want clients who are able to make those decisions simply because it's a much better relationship for me.
So with the bill paying, how do you handle that again? You may have said it. Do you line
Yeah, I
everything up, have the checks printed out, and then have them sign the checks, or?
varies, but a typical situation is I ask them to put all of their bills into a basket or a box, and then once a month I go visit them and we open the mail together. We open the bills if they haven't opened them already. And yes, I pull out the stubs. They often prefer to write checks because they're 85 or 95 and that's what they do.
Right.
And and I make sure that the checks have the account number on the memo line. that the person knows how to write a check, that they know today's date. They don't write last year's date because those checks get rejected by the banks. And I just I just physically sit there and make sure the checks are correctly written, and then I sometimes take them to the post office for them.
I can imagine that that is such a huge relief for someone in that situation. Um, and then your other colleagues would do the same thing that will then set everything up online and have it paid, or do you set things up for your clients online and let them push send or
I don't set up anything online. I don't do that. Some of my colleagues go so far as to serve as the legal power of attorney or executor, estate,
okay,
personal representative. No, I keep it really, really simple, which narrows the group of people that I can work with, but I like it that way. Yeah, the other people, there's a group of us who meet every month as a kind of a networking, and then we usually have a speaker. We meet online. There are a number of these groups around the country. This happens to be the one in the Pacific Northwest, and we talk about issues that come up, like maybe a client is at risk of having to apply for Medicaid. So we have a Medicaid attorney come and speak, or we have somebody who's a aging life care manager who comes and speak to us about what they do. And then after the speaker, we have a discussion where we refer people to each other, we discuss various issues, and that's why I know that many of these people prefer to work exclusively online or remotely, but
okay.
that's not my choice.
So you work in person with your
I
folks, but
work in
there's
person. Yep.
other daily money managers that will work via Zoom anywhere in the
Right.
country.
Right. Although most of them are kind of at least in the state or in the general area, because there are occasions where you might have to meet your client at a bank, for example, to talk to the banker or to talk
Okay.
to a financial planner. And I want to say, I meant to say this earlier, that the daily money manager is sometimes the reason that the client is able to stay living in their home, because they may not need help with the other activities of daily living, but if they really can't pay their bills, that is often the trigger for them having to move into some kind of senior living community. And a lot
Yeah.
of seniors would prefer to stay in their home. So we facilitate them getting to stay in their home.
And that's huge
It's
because
huge.
most seniors do want to stay in their home as long as possible.
Right.
And as you're talking, what really hit me is that your peer group goes far beyond just being bookkeepers
Oh yeah. Yeah.
because you're
It's a big
dealing with
it's it's
so
a big
much.
role. Yeah. It's a big role. And I know you wanted to talk about some of the issues. Like the first issue is trust. You know, these people, we're asking them to show us their most intimate financial secrets, like their bank statements, their credit card statements, their investment statements. And it goes both ways. I have to trust them and they have to trust me. So the American Association of Daily Money Managers has a background check. Every 2 years, I go through a background check to be a member. And we have a code of ethics. And I encourage people to interview me on Zoom. Interview me before you hire me. Make sure that you feel comfortable with me, and I will make sure I feel comfortable with you. Because, for example, if a client says to me, now, my big assignment for you is I want you to lie to the IRS for me. I'm not going to do it. That's not my, that is not what I do. That's not part of my ethics code. So they have to feel safe because they're inviting a complete stranger into their home. And hopefully there's some kind of maybe a warm call. I forget what it's called, but when you get a referral from like a word of mouth referral, that's the ideal situation because then you know that the person you're hiring is trusted by somebody you know.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. I love the background check and the
Yeah.
code of ethics. What else is required of somebody who wants to be a member of this group?
Well, it's a fairly new profession, so it's a little bit Wild West. They do have a certification program. I would say that's primarily for people who want to do a lot more than what I do. And we also have a professional liability insurance program. So they recommend that we go through a particular company and because they know what daily money managers are. Most insurance companies do not understand this role. And by the way, most banks do not understand this role. So I can't march into a bank and say, my client Sally Joe wants me to look at her safe deposit box. Oh no, the bank is not going to let me do that. So we have to have some kind of introduction. Usually, the client I don't drive my clients around again because of liability, but I will meet them at the bank if necessary to talk to the banker, and they can say to the banker, this is Maggie Knowles. She's my daily money manager. I give her full access to this or that, or I don't want her to see this part, but I want her to see this part. And that's fine. Whatever they want. I have a form that they fill out when we sign our my contract, which says these are the people I authorize you to speak to, and these are the people I do not want you to speak to. So it's up to them, it's up to the client to be very clear who is safe and who is not safe to talk to. And bankers and insurance companies and sometimes financial planners, it depends. Some of these professionals don't understand what a daily money manager does. So part of my job also is to educate them.
Yes.
On the other hand, there are other like estate attorneys and financial planners who refer people to me or CPAs refer people to me all the time because they know how valuable. They don't want to sit and help somebody pay their bills. They're not going to go
No,
through their budget.
no.
But I will say, "Oh, have you noticed that you're spending 80% of your money on your kids and this is the rate at which your funds are dwindling, and I thought you told me that this was your goal. Does that fit? Did you want to talk to your financial planner about that, maybe?
That's huge, Maggie, because you're totally right. Financial planners, most, don't want to do budgeting. They don't want to do what you're doing. And they're often at a loss to know who to refer out to. Now, until I met you, I had never heard of the AADMM.
Right.
I, I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
And the depth and care that you go to is, well, I think it's just kind of unprecedented because typically we would just try to find a honest bookkeeper,
Right.
but you're helping them sign up or keep in good standing with various organizations or government agencies. Would you troubleshoot a Social Security problem?
I myself would not, but I bet some of my colleagues would. Yeah.
Because talking to Social Security, my rule of thumb is you call 3 times and go with the answer that you get twice.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and the analytical budgeting that you're doing, like kind of being the gatekeeper on potential abuse,
Yeah.
uh, elder abuse, or just them abusing themselves. I've had clients where we see they're just giving inordinate sums to political causes, religious causes, to your point of where it's unsustainable.
Yeah.
They'll hurt themselves.
Well, I've had situations like that where clients have given the majority of their retirement money to an adult child with the wishful thinking that the child was going to turn their life around and, stop drinking and start earning money and support them in their old age. And then that never happened. So they didn't have the money that they really needed for, let's say, for the memory care facility or the skilled nursing or whatever. It's dangerous. And it's that sort of, well, I talk about how, I mean, you asked on your email, you asked about emotional issues. One of the big issues is adult parents, the seniors who are in their 80s and 90s, are worried naturally about their adult children. They're loving, they worry about their kids, and they tend to want to solve their children's problems, financial problems, at the expense of themselves. They also, this is kind of an adjacent issue. I have a firm belief that the seniors themselves are interested in staying as independent as possible, as long as possible.
Yeah.
So they're willing to take risks and make mistakes with their money, whereas the adult children want to keep them healthy and safe. And those two agendas can be at odds. Health and safety versus versus independence, the ability to make my own decisions.
Say a little
So,
bit more that the seniors are willing to take risks with their money.
well, you know, like for example, I said to one gentleman that they were trying to get him to stop driving because he wasn't really safe as a driver. And they were right. I mean, the children were right to be concerned about his ability to drive. And I said to him, let me show you how much you're spending on that car. This is what you're spending on insurance. This is what you're spending on gas. This is what you're spending on maintenance. This is what you're spending on car tabs. Do you really want to keep that car going?
Nice.
And somehow that persuaded him. I mean, he didn't think it was taking a risk, but I knew that he was risking his retirement money, partly, a little part of it, a piece of it on this car. And I figured, well, the kids are making an emotional pitch. Dad, you're not safe. You got to stop driving. But I was able to come in and say, hey, Mr. So and so, let's look at the numbers. And that was
Uh-huh.
what sold him.
Yes. And, and I also had the thought as you were talking, some people may have a financial planner that can uh, see that or underscore that. But I will bet that you are working with some people that don't have a
Right.
financial planner.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're the eyes and ears of what's happening to them financially. And it sounds like you're willing to raise the flag when you see something that this could be harmful to you.
It's a fine line, Rick, because I'm not a decision maker. I really am kind of a glorified bookkeeper, but I'm also like a detective.
Yes.
I observe things. And because I am sitting in their home, watching them interact with people around them or
Mm,
take phone calls from their kids or whatever,
mm.
I'm looking at the quote dirty laundry. I'm looking at it. I see it. And it's not that I don't have I have my plenty of my own dirty laundry. I'm not judging them, but I'm able to observe things that probably need attention. And sometimes, this isn't part of the role, but I've noticed that it can really help. I had a client who was from Europe, but she lived in my city, but she had no family in this country at all. She had family in Europe, and what I did was I started making it possible for her to see them on a smartphone video chat, video call. Now, she hadn't seen these people in 15 years because she only had a landline. She had talked to them on the phone, but she hadn't physically seen them. And that was a wonderful, wonderful, it was about 2 years worth. Once a month, I would go and we would always call her family in Europe, and then we would talk about her finances.
Wow.
And it made it possible for them to feel like she was being looked after financially. Now, she did have a financial planner, but by the time I got to her, she wasn't really talking to that person very often.
That is so valuable. I mean, when you said that, I'm in the home,
I'm in the home, right?
I'm there, I see it. I just viscerally felt that, wow, that's yeah, on Zoom, you can see a little bit at least of the person, you hear them talking, but being in the home,
Yeah.
that's a big difference, isn't it?
It's a big difference. It makes me, I'm not part of the family, but I'm like the cleaning lady. I'm there often. I'm there very often. So I know them and they know me. And that helps with the trust and the safety. They feel
Totally.
safe with me. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, their planner, very few are going to be in their home. It's very rare that
Yeah.
I went or go to a home of a client.
Yeah.
And how powerful is that? What a service. I mean, talking to be about being the eyes and ears of an extended family member, a child, even a financial planner. What a valuable role,
Well, and especially if the power of attorney, who is often one of the adult children, if they live at some distance,
right?
I had a client who the power of attorney was the daughter, and she lived quite far away. But when she did come to town, we would get together and we would work together for hours at a time to make sure that everything was everything was copacetic, because he wasn't capable of doing anything anymore, her father. And I love this so much because he was really worried about having to about running out of money. He had a lot of expenses, medical bills and other kinds of bills, and he was all set to apply for Medicaid. Well, not he, but his daughter. The power of attorney was the person who was making these decisions. And we jumped through a lot of hoops, talked to the financial planner, talked to the CPA, talked to the estate attorney, and it got resolved in such an interesting way for me. This man literally thought, and the family thought he could run out of money, but instead, and this is sad, but it's interesting to me. He died at, I think he was 96, and he left his family a considerable sum of money because he got a buyback. He got his buy-in money back from the senior living community
Oh,
he
okay.
had invested in. So with a lot of these communities, you pay a large chunk, and then when you move out, you get a portion of that back. So instead
Right.
of having to go on Medicaid, he left his family a lot of money, which is great. But if there hadn't been the two of us working closely together, we would never have been able to pull that off.
Wow. Maggie, I'm also thinking I wanted to get to this before we run out of time. You have written a book
Yes, sir.
and it's pretty close to coming out. Is that right?
Well, I keep saying it'll only be a short time, but there are a lot of steps. There are a lot of steps. I'm hoping it'll be at least this year, if not within the next few months.
Tell us a little bit about what your book is about.
Sure. It's about healing your relationship with money, and it's based on all the embarrassing, humiliating, shame-producing experiences I've had with money, my own personal. It's a financial tell-all and spiritual guide to healing your relationship with money. I call it Face Your Money, Honey, because the key the key is to be mindful. I say the pain of not facing your money is greater than the pain of facing your money. And what do I
Yeah.
mean by facing your money? I mean really dealing with the emotional issues attached to your finances. Because as you know, this is your area of expertise. Money brings up so many feelings. So I talk about the feelings, I talk about the relationship dynamics, especially inappropriate rescuing or inappropriately being rescued. Like as a recovering mooch, I mooched on my mother my entire life. And I'm very aware that it would be easy to say, Mom, it's your fault that I mooched on you. But no, I have to take responsibility. So the book is about taking responsibility, facing your money, doing it in baby steps, and using essentially spiritual principles and principles of therapy to heal, get to let go of all that shame.
So if anybody, if any listener was wondering, Ricky, you usually don't have technical people on just to talk about what they do in the profession. I think by now they get the they get the link.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you're a money manager, a daily money manager who really gets it.
yeah.
You get the emotional piece.
Well, when you read my book, you will see that there are parts of it that I learned from you. Like you have to be ready to receive education in financial literacy. You can't just you can't just have somebody preach it at you or bark it at you. You have to be emotionally available for it.
I completely agree and get that. And in fact, I think I used one of your stories that you related on one of our financial therapy calls in a column.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you did.
And so I guess we'll keep it. It's a phenomenal, that was a phenomenal story.
Well, I
And
essentially I thought that if I was successful, it would kill my mother.
yeah,
And then the week she died was the week I had the biggest success to date. So the child part of me that, you're talking about internal family systems, the part of me that had that idea as a child that it would kill my mother if I was successful said, "Oh, see, I was right. I killed her by being successful. I know better, but that child part of me doesn't."
right. So powerful. Um, well, I hope that book gets out.
It'll get out. It'll get out. It's with the copyright attorney right now, so I'm working on that.
Oh, great. And again, the name of the book is,
Face Your Money, Honey, a financial tell-all and gentle spiritual guide.
and will you set that up so it can be pre-ordered, like on
Yes, I
Amazon?
will. Yes, I will. And also, I want to give you my website, and also I want to tell you again the website of the American Association of Daily Money
Okay,
Managers, which is aadmm.com. American Association of Daily Money Managers.com. There's a button that says Find a DMM. And you can plug in your zip code or your state or your city and look for people.
perfect.
And they also have a lot of information for people who are interested in becoming daily money managers. And I want to make a pitch for this because I think within a couple of years, we're going to have what they're calling the silver tsunami. All of the baby boomers are going to get to the point that they need daily money managers.
Yep,
We're going to need a lot of people to do the work I do.
nice. Yes,
So please, please, please consider it if you're out there and you're thinking maybe I could use a part-time job. Like maybe a mother whose children are in school during the day could go and visit seniors while the kids are in school.
exactly. And what's your website, Maggie?
Just MaggieKnowles.com.
Great. Maggie, I appreciate you being with us so much. I appreciate you so much. You're
Well,
just a
likewise.
easy person. So
Likewise, Rick, you've taught me a lot, and I really appreciate everything you do for people.
thank you. Thanks so much, Maggie.
All right.